Hello and welcome to episode 1 of After School, the Degrassi podcast. I'm Ray.
I'm Cam.
And we're bringing you the weekly after school podcast where we rewind and deep dive into the seasons of Degrassi episode by episode and give you our raw and unfiltered opinions. Since today is the first episode, I thought that we could start by giving a little background on how we started, watching Degrassi and what led us to making this become a podcast. I guess it started with myself. I started watching Degrassi when I was 10 or 11, and I just fell in love with the storylines, with the characters. I just really loved everything about it. And so since the first time I started watching it at that young age, I would say that I've been rewatching it every couple years since, because I just love it. It gives me a sense of nostalgia that I be looking for sometimes, and it's a great series, so the rewatchability is great. So buddy, why would you say you started watching Degrassi?
I think I started watching it around the same time as you. I was young, didn't have any high school experience, so it was nice to see what the drama was about going into their high school experience.
Right.
It taught you a lot of lessons. You fell in love with the cast and all the friendships and relationships that came with it.
Exactly. So what I would say started us off with the podcast is about a year ago, we both realized out of the blue, as long as we've been friends, that we both like Degrassi. And we decided that we would start watching it together because, again, great show, top tier entertainment. And yeah, I feel like we might have been watching it and then we had some conversations where we came to the agreement that people would like our opinions on this show. They would like to hear some of the things that we have to say.
Yes.
We have very, how do you say, problematic opinions about this show.
Strong
Sometimes strong would also be another great word for it. So I already make videos on Degrassi, and I just thought, bring my buddy along and we'll talk about some stuff, break this down on this little podcast. And yeah, so that's what this is. We're just here to talk about a little Degrassi and chill.
Yep.
So today we're starting off with episode 1, season 1, Mother and Child Reunion.
Okay, so season 1, episode 1 starts off with Emma and Manny online chatting with a guy named Jordan, who's supposed to be around their age. And right then and there, we see their level of immaturity. They're very young. I think they're at least 13 to 12 years old. And they're not internet savvy. This is not something they're used to. This is newer to them.
You could definitely
given
tell.
the time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, they're a little bit naive with this whole Jordan thing.
I think so, because I think even when the episode starts, you can kind of tell where it's getting ready to go.
Yeah.
To me, I knew, okay, automatically off the bat that this Jordan is not who he says he is, because that just seemed like where it was going for me. But you can tell that they're not mature enough, or maybe not even they. Emma is not mature enough to really understand what could really come from what she's doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and Emma definitely has this thing where it's she doesn't want to listen to anybody.
Hard-headed, very hard-headed.
Yeah.
Very she
knows what she's doing.
Exactly. When in reality she really doesn't, So yeah, you have this whole little, pretty much this little childish scene where Emma is crushing over a boy she met online.
Yeah.
And they don't know who he is, and yeah, that's where you have that. You also have the first time we get introduced to Spike as well. And you kind of see a little bit of the dynamic of her and Emma's relationship, which is
a little bit of strange.
I mean, just a little bit. I feel like you could tell Spike was a younger mom.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that Emma has a lot of ring in the house.
Yeah, Emma runs that over there. You can tell that Spike is one of those parents who is more focused on being the friend of her kid than necessarily the parent.
Yeah.
And you can tell that just based off the way that Emma talks to her just in this first 5 minutes of this episode. So yeah, that's very telling there. And then you have, moving on, you have the older cast, which is the following scene we get to meet Joey, who also in this scene we find out that his wife has recently passed, or not even recently, she had died a year prior to this reunion happening. And one of the girls, she's from Degrassi Junior High. If you haven't watched, you should. I think you should. I think anybody who is a fan of Degrassi The Next Generation should go back and watch those older Degrassi because it gives you more of a background on the older cast and like pretty much you'll see how the Next Generation gives you closure for the older cast when you go back and watch their seasons of Degrassi. But I don't remember the girl's name from Degrassi Junior High, but you have her telling Joey, you find out that he really does not want to go to the reunion, and it's because he's really just not feeling like being out and partying, essentially. And you have her telling him that he kind of needs to, it's been a year and he needs to get over the death of his wife, which I think is kind of just wild to say to somebody.
Oh, yeah, it's very inconsiderate. And her being a friend, I just don't understand where her mind is in this. As a friend, you should always respect your friend's grievances.
Yeah, they should let him go through what he's going through. And when he's ready to, step out and just be out there, then he'll come. But you should not rush his process. I think that's unfair to him.
Yeah, and it just doesn't lead to good places when you do that.
Right. They just needed to really just let that man heal on his own time.
Yeah. So after that scene, they then go up to Degrassi, right?
Yes.
And that's where we see kind of like a Caitlyn and Joey reunion.
Yes, we do.
I, speaking from somebody who hasn't watched Degrassi Junior High or Degrassi High, could already peep something in the air with Joey and Caitlyn. And that's not even somebody that's watched it.
Yeah, they're a real, they are essentially like the first iconic Degrassi couple. They're the ones that really paved the way so all the rest of these couples could be a thing. That's why it's so great, when you see them get together later on down the line, because it's just like, we wanted this for so long and now it's here. We got it. It's an ending and it's great. So, but you could tell that there's unfinished business between them clearly. Even, like you said, being though you haven't watched it, it's clear. You can tell that there's some chemistry there. You can tell that there's something there that happened that's not finished yet.
Yeah. Also, Joey learns that in that scene, he learns that Caitlyn is getting married.
He does learn that she is engaged, which again has to be another just punch to the stomach for him. This man has lost his wife and now his ex, who is quite frankly the first love that he had, is now getting engaged. Joey's just down like 10 points right now. He's feeling bad about himself.
Yeah, you can see it.
It's clearly all over his face. Before that, we have where we're introduced to JT and Toby.
Yes, JT and Toby, we're introduced to them, and let's just say how cute they were. They were so adorable.
Handshake dorky as hell though.
Yeah, so you see that they were friends from a summer camp or something like that, and then they get involved with Manny and Emma, and they start talking because apparently Manny, Emma, and JT already knew each other.
Yes, they were friends with each other beforehand. Toby was the only new person coming in. Exactly.
So you already see the kind of dynamic that's building up in this group. They're not so much the popular children. They're more of they're not freaks or geeks either. but they're just more of like an outcasted group of kids. But good vibes so far. Good vibes with them.
Yeah. So, we have some more stuff in between there. I think of maybe some more Jordan and Emma scenes where she's talking to them.
Oh yes, she snuck into the computer lab while
Yes.
everybody was on break. The school's not even supposed to be open. They're only here to help set up the reunion. She's so pressed. She snuck into the computer lab and still talking to this Jordan guy. Like, so you could already tell Emma is head over heels.
Exactly.
This man is feeding her long list of whatever she wants to hear, and she is just eating it up. She's eating it up. Like any 12-year-old would. I mean, a lot of 12-year-olds are just not dumb and naive. There's nothing we can do about it.
I mean, there's a lot that could be done about it, but we don't have all day to discuss what could be done about that.
But that leads us into the scene where Emma and Toby and JT and Manny are all talking, right?
Right.
And this is when Emma had found out that the dude was coming to Toronto. So she's excited. She's telling her friends and whatnot. And from the jump, JT and Toby are like, this is weird. That's a whole weirdo. You need to not do it. Like, they wasn't sugarcoating nothing. They was telling her, this is not okay. That you're meeting this man online. And Emma is just still in denial.
But you know what? I feel like people might say, well, she was a kid. And, sometimes kids do stupid things. But, like, when your friends who are also kids seem like they know better and have a head on their shoulder, is being a kid an excuse?
Yeah, Emma was definitely in denial. And that's the only way I could put it. She was so naive and so dumb that she wasn't listening to nobody, not even her own peers.
Mm-hmm. Especially when all three of them on separate occasions tried to tell her that like it wasn't a good idea. I think JT and Toby told her at the same time. Back to back. Toby, I think, even went as far as to break down. Like how, this could be a 40-year-old man, blah, blah, blah. Like, he went as far as to explain it to her that this could be dangerous. Then you have later on in the episode, Manny also tells her, hey, I don't think this is a good idea, and Emma chooses not to listen.
Hold on. Also, in that scene, I think, Emma tries to validate that Jordan is not a 40-year-old man by saying that he sends her pictures and videos. So, again, this is showing just how naive Emma is, because everybody nowadays knows that pictures and videos is not 100% proof of anybody's identity.
Right.
You're going to need way more than that. All right? Nowadays, we know that, but back in those days, this was probably like, again, something new.
I mean, yeah, you could tell by how it's being treated, but it can't be that new if her friends know that this is wrong. That's where it kind of just lets you know that Emma just doesn't make sense. She's just dumb. Emma frustrates me, and child. So after this scene, we kind of go back to the house. I think where we meet Caitlin at the house where Emma meets Caitlin.
Yes.
And there's a conversation, or not even a conversation. There's an interaction between Spike and Emma that doesn't sit right with my spirit. Spike says something along the lines of like, she could use the computer if she wants to, or something like that. And Emma told her that she needed to ask her to use the computer.
Yeah. So in that scene, Spike was just using her computer.
Yes.
With Caitlin.
Yes. To look at the reunion website. Yes.
Emma takes it upon herself
out of nowhere
to just spaz out on her mom and say, you need to ask permission to use my computer. And You wonder why Emma gets so defensive. At least Spike does wonder why she's so defensive.
Yes.
About using this computer.
Yes.
You would think Spike would take the time out to, look to make sure her daughter isn't doing anything crazy, but she doesn't.
After my child got that defensive, I definitely would have looked, because Emma was being real, like, she was being a hot boy, honestly.
And I think this is another part of Emma's character flaw, is that I think she subliminally knew that this was dangerous, because she wasn't telling her mom.
Yeah.
And, she was worried that her mom would find out about it.
Right.
So I think in her head, she knew it was a little bit dangerous, but she still went along with it. Even though it might have been in her gut feeling that this was not something she should do.
And I feel like also in this scene, or maybe it's the scene right after, is where we had, when I was telling you about Manny saying something to Emma.
Yes.
When Manny was saying, friend, I don't really think this is a good idea. Being a good friend that Manny always was to Emma. Telling her friend, hey, like, maybe you should stop. Like, I don't think you should go meet up with him. Maybe this could be dangerous. You heard what JT and Toby said. Like, maybe they're right. And Emma still chose to not listen.
Yeah.
So there were multiple times in this episode where she really could have stopped and chose not to. She just, I don't know. She just has this thing where she just thinks she's right.
Yeah. And
she thinks she know it all, but she don't. You're a child at the end of the day. You don't know damn near anything.
Nothing.
So after this, we have, I guess, where they go to the bar. The older cast goes to the bar.
Yes.
And this is where we kind of see that Caitlin's boyfriend is a little bit of an asshole. Fiance, I should say.
Yes.
He's a little bit of a pressed asshole, too. The way he was on his phone, the way he spoke to Joey after the whole commercial thing was a little rude, and Joey had the right to smack him. Because I would have. He got real spicy for no reason.
Yeah, it was like they were all watching Joey's commercial, and, everybody was hyping it up, and then this stranger is like, well, yeah, that looks tacky or something like that.
Next time you should hire a professional.
Yeah.
How about I hit you in your face? How about that?
For him to be, like, new to the clique, for Joey not to know him at all, you're a bold person to critique somebody's art like that.
Quite frankly, especially since you could see, like, it was quite obvious to me that Joey was going through something.
Yes.
You could tell that
he was uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was uncomfortable being out. He wasn't used to being out. Like, he was upset that his wife died, and he had the right to go through that. And then you have now him learning about his ex that he's in love with is engaged, of course. So it's just kind of like, you know what? Joey was having a rough day, and they should have let him have his rough day.
Yeah. So, that whole bar scene, it didn't go to plan as I expected it to. I think it got cut short. Didn't Joey storm out?
I believe Joey did storm out,
yeah.
Yes.
It was just too much pressure on him.
Which goes back to the conversation we had earlier, is you have to let your friends heal on their own time. You can't force somebody to heal.
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up to do, honestly.
So, after that whole fiasco with the bar situation, then you have Spike, Caitlin, and another girl.
The other girl, yeah.
Come back home. And that's what Emma asks Caitlin for some advice.
Yes. She pretty much breaks it down to Caitlin as though her friends don't want her to be with her boyfriend. But she really likes her boyfriend, so what should she do? Emma tells a part of the story, not the whole thing.
Emma tells what she views in her mind as what this is going on. But the truth is, that guy is not her boyfriend. Her friends are not saying this because they don't want her in a relationship.
Right.
They're saying this for her own safety.
Exactly.
And Caitlin, not knowing, she tells her the advice that most people will say: follow your heart, do what you think is right, go through what you want to go through. Pretty much. Emma takes that and runs with it.
Completely.
Runs completely with it, even though it's a big lie that what she told to Caitlin.
Right.
And so what?
Go ahead.
So that episode with Emma emailing the guy and setting up a meetup with this stranger online.
Which, how dangerous? How dangerous?
Oh my gosh! So the first episode, you just have
it's shambles already. Everything is in shambles. The drama.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where you transition into the second part of the episode, which pretty much starts out with it being the actual day of the reunion that we were referring to from the first part. You have Spike, who is getting ready to leave for the reunion, and you kind of got Emma like trying to rush her out the house on along about her day. My mother would have definitely been suspicious.
Yes, my mom would have definitely known something was up. You could kind of see that Spike is a little bit questioning her, but at the same time, I think Spike had way more faith in Emma than she should have.
Quite frankly, yes.
I feel like she thought her daughter was something, and completely the opposite is what she got.
Talk about it.
So yeah, after that scene, we then meet Ashley and Terry for the first time.
Yes, we do.
And they're friends, you can tell.
Yeah. They're like kind of ushering the new people the older cast into the gym to, go to their little reunion.
Yeah.
Let's just quickly. Hey, buddy, what did you think about Ashley?
When I first met Ashley, when I first saw her, I really didn't think anything of it. I was, neutral on the situation.
She said 2 lines in this, and I was immediately annoyed. And I don't know if that's my I hate Ashley biasness.
It's her biasness.
She just annoyed me. This episode wasn't even about her.
It wasn't. She literally had only one scene.
And I was just already annoyed. But you know what? I'm going to try to be not biased this time.
Okay.
But it's still fuck her. So.
I just want to make sure we get the fuck her part in the actual part where she's actually an asshole and not when she's doing something normal.
No, you're right. I can't be just like being like that.
So like the whole thing, once everybody gets to the reunion, right?
Yes.
Emma, she lies to Manny, her best friend.
She does. Best friend. Wow.
She lies and tells her that, she's just going to be home watching videos all day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no need for her to come over and do anything because she's just going to be home. But we as the viewers all know that was not the case.
At all.
She was going to meet what she thinks is her boyfriend, Jordan.
Right. So, also, let's just talk about how Manny was on Emma's ass, okay?
Manny knew her friend.
Emma didn't answer the phone. Manny was like, oh, okay, something is wrong with that. Emma told Manny she going to be watching a certain show. Manny checked the guide to see if that shit was on TV. Once she checked to see if it was on TV, she went over to see if Emma was home. Manny was not playing with her.
Yeah.
She was going to find her friend.
Manny is like a true friend, and I feel like she knew what kind of time Emma was on. Like, she caught on way faster than Emma's mom, for sure.
Yeah. She had to be the one to tell Emma's mom.
Yeah.
But that's like...
okay. Yeah.
Neither here nor there. So... I feel like, do we get to see that Emma has been taken already before or after the whole Toby breaking into Emma's email thing?
We get to see that. We get to see how she gets lowered into the hotel by the stranger, how he like presents himself as Jordan's teacher. Oh, yeah, how he presents himself as Jordan's teacher because Jordan is at a summer camp and
yeah, he was going on a school trip over the summer with his teacher. So that's how he presented himself. So he gets Emma to pretty much come upstairs with him, which I knew off jump was like dangerous. And the fact that she fell for that, I would have sat down in the lobby. I would have never went upstairs with a grown man.
Because he did give her two options. He said you could either wait here and he'll come down, or you can come up with me and we're just eating pizza. Like, no worries.
And she didn't think something was wrong with that.
Not at all.
And that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you really question her.
Yeah, you could definitely tell she's a 12-year-old child.
So then I believe is when we have the flashback to where you see Manny, or not flashback, but the scene where you see Manny go over to JT and Toby, and she's telling them, like, I think something's wrong with Emma. I think Emma went to go meet this guy, and we don't know where she is. We got to figure it out. And Toby suggests that they break into her email. And I just want to say that Toby was, like, a genius in this. Because breaking into her email would not have been the thought that came across my mind. Maybe I'm just a little slow.
Yeah.
But I was really actually quite impressed. And that's a lot to say for Toby. This man broke into her email. This man was able to figure out that Jordan had hacked into her email. And was like,
reading her emails.
Yes.
To Mandy and all her other friends.
Oh.
This man was a psychopath.
Oh my God. So, we see that, and I guess after that we go to see the older cast at the reunion.
Yes.
And we get Joey and Caitlin. I think this is where he apologizes to her.
Yes.
About how he left off the night before and that he's been sad, and they have a whole little heart-to-heart in the bathroom conversation, I feel like.
Yeah, and it seems like everything is going well. Joey seems a little bit more lifted.
Yes.
Yes.
After he has this conversation with Caitlin, he then sees in the hallway Caitlin's fiance, who is bolder than a motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's bold. Talking to another girl from in their class, Allison is her name. And pretty much was saying that, like,
he wasn't ready for marriage.
Yeah, Caitlin pretty much forced him, like, pretty much is what he was saying.
Yes.
And Joey heard this. And Joey was about that action. Joey was a real one, because I'd have done the same thing. And so when Joey came in with the action behind, finding out that Keith was wild. Are we gonna talk about how Joey got beat up, low-key?
He did low-key get beat up. But he did get to smack that man in the face with a phone.
Yeah.
2 times.
It was funny. Bitching him like that was hilarious. And another thing I wrote down is that, like, Mr. Radish had to be tired of them niggas at that point. Because he had been dealing with it. He was like a teacher when they was
at wow.
school. Exactly. So he has been seeing drama happen at this school for years. At this point, I would have quit if I was him. Honestly,
yeah.
If this is how, like, they acting at the reunion, imagine how the school year is going to go.
Exactly.
And these are whole new students. So we go back to the hotel room, I think, of course, where we're seeing that Emma has now figured out that she's in a dangerous situation.
Yeah, she's finally scared. Once I think she realized there was no kids.
Yes.
In the hotel room.
Yes. After that, she tries to run. She does, and
let's talk about how long it took her to unlock a door.
Yeah.
So the way locks work, if you're inside the room where the lock is, all you have to do is turn the lock and then it will unlock. Yeah. I don't know, it was a concept new to her.
Took so long, she had to go hide in the bathroom.
Yeah, she then proceeded to hide in the bathroom.
And, I would have stayed in the bathroom.
Me too.
He couldn't have convinced me that he left the other one.
I get it, though. She heard a door slam. She thought he was out the room.
Emma was motherfucking stupid.
Yeah, this guy got real violent real fast, too. At first he was just, calm, like, okay, I just wanted to talk to you. I just wanted to be a friend and this, that, and the third. To, as soon as she hopped out the bathroom, he was like, I'll duct tape your mouth if you say anything. So I'm like, she's in danger. This is just not no creep off the internet. This is a whole pedophile.
Right. Like,
he got a camera set up and everything. So
the camera being set up wasn't creepy. Was what was creepy to me. You know, also what was really fucking creepy, after he got her to come out the bathroom, even as a kid, like, this made me uncomfortable. When she came out and he set up the camera and sat down next to her and was being all weird.
Yeah, and was touching her hand.
It made me uncomfortable, and I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, yeah, this is weird. I felt bad for Emma, honestly.
In this scene, yeah.
Because I don't think that she thought that it was gonna. Why? Not even. I don't think. I know that she thought that it was gonna go a different way, and it. You could be like, she shouldn't have been there in the first place, but at the same time, I guess we could give her the she's a kid excuse, whatever.
And he's a grown ass adult,
right.
And he already knew what he was doing.
Right.
He preyed on this young child.
Right.
So
I feel like after we see the scene with them sitting on the bed, we then have, after that, the kids go up to the school and tell, like, Emma has been, you know.
Yeah, they tell her mom and then Mr. Simpson.
Yes. And first of all, Mr. Simpson was that nigga. The way he rode up in that hotel room, it was a lot.
You could tell that he would have killed that man.
Oh God.
If it didn't mean he was risking his life.
Yeah.
You could tell. And you could tell his love for Emma.
Yeah. And I really feel bad for Spike in this moment, because she didn't know what was going on. And that's so scary as a parent, to probably not know what your child is really doing. Like, imagine that. You out somewhere and somebody just comes up to you and tell you that your child is at this hotel with this random person and he could be doing something to her. Anything could have happened to Emma. Luckily it didn't, but it could have.
Oh my gosh. Like, the way this world works, most scenarios would have ended up so much fatal. She got off lucky. And you would think this was one of Emma's callings, to change her ways, to listen to people. But as you go on through this series, one thing about Emma, she gonna do what Emma wanna do.
And that's just on period. That's just on period. I think we might have got a little bit ahead of ourselves about how the whole scene went down. So pretty much they went to the hotel and was able to find out what room she was in. And Emma does like this like flip.
A whole flip.
It was a save my life flip.
Here.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, she opens the door and you have Mr. Simpson who holds this man down. And this man still tried to, like, make it seem like it wasn't what it was, which was creepy.
You're alone in a room with a child.
Yes.
With a camcorder set up.
Weird.
Oh, yeah, you're going to jail.
Jail. Underneath the jail at that point.
Yeah,
so,
this is...
I guess there is, like, there is a happy ending to this. He does, you know, get dealt with accordingly. And I guess that leads us to the last scene of the episode, which is where you have the police coming in and taking Emma's computer out of her room. And they're saying to Spike, like, this is going to be gone. The computer's going to be gone for a while because, you know, we have enough to get this guy on this computer. But when it does come back, it doesn't need to be in her room.
Yeah.
Which she should have known from the beginning. I'm still annoyed that the computer was even in her room to begin with. Because why? All of this could have been avoided if Spike had been downstairs. If the computer had been downstairs and Spike had been monitoring her.
Yeah. And then also with the whole discussions, make sure your kids are like, understand the internet is a dangerous place.
You know, another thing that really stuck out to me in this scene is the relationship between Spike and Emma, going back to it, is really weird. Because you have Emma still having the audacity to get smart with Spike after what she did. And it's kind of disgusting. Yeah. The way that, you remember how the conversation started when Spike came into her room, was pretty much kind of asking her, like, why would you do that? This, that, and the third. And Emma had the nerve to, like, kind of, like, snap back.
Yeah.
And be a little rude. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it.
It's the way that when Spike was trying to tell her, like, I thought you were smarter than this.
Right.
I thought you didn't do nothing like this. And she's just like, I'm 12. And it's just like, yes, you're 12 years old. and you shouldn't have been doing something like this.
Period.
You should have known better, and you did know that that was bad, and that's why you hid it from your mom. So don't be mad at her for then, in return, coming at you. Because she deserved it. You could have put your mom in so much stress. Oh my gosh, she almost killed herself.
And I feel like based on this conversation with Spike, and from, us having watched the rest of the series, I feel like it would be an okay time for me to say that Emma has always been the problem. And that's the statement. That's the lesson we learned today. And from today's 2 episodes, we learned that Emma is the problem and has always been the problem.
And like I said before, the whole lesson thing for Emma, it goes one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
Because sis gets herself into a lot more stuff throughout this series.
A lot. Mostly focused on her, so y'all, we got like some wild storylines coming up with Emma. It just gets wilder from here. Like, she doesn't get any better. So, quite frankly, I think she gets worse, but that's not for me to get into today. So, yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching our little podcast about Degrassi. We hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and I hope you're looking forward to more. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel so that you can be kept updated on when we post the podcast. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications so that you can be one of the first to view the podcast when it comes out. And yeah, we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.